Alright, let's kick things off with a question that stumps a lot of people. What happens if you're partially at fault for an accident? Can you still get compensation? Many people think that if they're even a little bit to blame, they're automatically out of luck when it comes to getting compensated. But guess what? That's not exactly how it works. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I am Greg Czubernat, your go-to personal injury attorney here in Hinsdale, Illinois. Over the years, I've dedicated my career to helping people who've been injured in accidents navigate the legal maze and secure the compensation they deserve. If you've been hurt and need someone in your corner, don't hesitate to reach out at czubernatlaw.com. Today's episode is all about personal injury cases like car collisions, motorcycle crashes, or store accidents. But remember, work-related accidents under the Illinois Workers' Compensation Act follow different rules, which we will cover separately in another episode. Usually, after an accident, the big question is who's at fault, but the real question should be who's more at fault. In Illinois, we follow something called modified comparative negligence. Here's what that means. As long as you're 50% or less to blame for the accident, you can still receive compensation. But there's a catch. Whatever percentage of the accident is your fault, that same percentage gets knocked off your compensation. On the flip side, if you're found to be more than 50% at fault, you're out of luck and won't get any compensation for your damages. Let's break it down with a classic example, a T-bone accident where one car crashes into the side of another. Say the injured driver is found to be 30% at fault. They can still get compensated, but the total amount they receive will be reduced by 30%. So if the jury awards $100,000, they will only get $70,000 because $30,000 gets deducted for their share of the blame. Personally, I think this is a fair system. It wouldn't make sense for someone to get full compensation if they played a big part in causing the accident. But it also wouldn't be fair to completely bar them from recovery just because they were involved. After all, accidents usually happen because multiple factors and people come into play. Next up, a question I get all the time. Do I really need to hire a lawyer? In a personal injury case, you can absolutely represent yourself. There's no law saying you must hire a lawyer, just like there's no law saying you have to see a dentist when you've got a toothache. You can try to fix it yourself, but well, we all know how that usually ends. Think about it. What could have been solved with a quick dentist visit might turn into a nightmare if you ignore it. You could end up with an infection and a trip to the ER. It's the same with legal cases. What starts as something manageable can quickly spiral out of control if you don't have professional help. Imagine realizing that the deadline to file your lawsuit or respond to one is tomorrow, or worse, discovering you've made so many mistakes handling it on your own that now it's nearly impossible to fix. Lawsuits are not the place to test out your do-it-yourself skills. If being a lawyer was that easy, why would we spend 4 years in college, 3 more in law school, and then take a state bar exam just to do it? It's always better to get a professional in your corner from the start than to scramble for help when it's almost too late. Now, here's another one I get asked a lot. Can I wait to hire a lawyer until after I recover from my injuries? Look, I totally get it. When you're hurting, your health is priority number one. You want to focus on getting back on your feet, not on legal paperwork. But here's the kicker. You don't get to choose how quickly you recover. And if you wait until you're fully healed before bringing in a lawyer, you might be putting your case in serious jeopardy. What if your recovery takes longer than expected? Or worse, what if you don't recover as well as you hoped? Imagine this. Your treatment drags on for a year or more, and by the time you're ready to think about legal action, vital evidence is gone, witnesses' memories have faded, and deadlines are looming. Or what if your health suddenly takes a nosedive and now you can't even remember the details of the accident, let alone hire a lawyer? And here's the real curveball. Even if you're thinking, I don't want to sue anyone, I just want to heal in peace, the local sheriff might still knock on your door with a lawsuit in hand because maybe, just maybe, in the eyes of the other driver or their lawyer, you're the one who's more at fault for the accident. What if you're so focused on healing that you're not even thinking about compensation, but you don't have health insurance? That compensation claim might be your only lifeline to cover those massive medical bills. Now, a lot of people get hung up on the statute of limitations, those deadlines that say when you can file a lawsuit. Sure, they're important, but they're not the only thing that matters. The statute of limitations is the final buzzer, not the starting whistle. The sooner you start building your case and gathering evidence, the better your chances. When that accident happens, you're dealt a hand of cards, and you've got to play them. The game's already started, whether you're ready or not. So your real decision is, do you want to tackle this game alone, or do you want an experienced lawyer in your corner, helping you throughout these tough moments? You might also be wondering, when should I hire a lawyer, or when should I report the accident to my insurance company? Well, here's the thing. Sometimes these decisions get made for you before you even realize it. The other driver, their passengers, or even a random passerby might report the accident before you've had a chance to catch your breath. And if the accident is serious, things can spiral fast. Imagine, you're knocked out cold. The fire department shows up, extracts you from your car, and by the time you come to, you're in a hospital bed with no memory of how you got there. The point is, once the accident happens, everything can start moving at lightning speed with or without your input. That's why it's crucial to have a game plan from the get-go, so you're not caught off guard and scrambling to keep up when things start happening fast. Bottom line, being involved in an accident can have some serious legal and financial consequences, even if you don't want to deal with them right away. What you do or don't do can impact future legal proceedings, including decisions about compensation and medical claims. And the last question for today. What if it was just a minor fender bender? My car wasn't badly damaged, so nothing serious will come out of it, right? It's easy to think of car accidents as big, dramatic collisions involving other vehicles. But let's not forget, accidents can also involve bicycles, motorcycles, or pedestrians. What felt like just a loud thump from inside your car could have been a devastating blow to a pedestrian or a motorcyclist, sending them sliding headfirst into a ditch. Even in car-on-car collisions, a seemingly minor accident can still pack a serious punch. The force of impact doesn't always match up with severity of bodily injuries. You might not see deployed airbags, but that doesn't mean everyone involved walked away unaffected. Minor car damage can still lead to significant injuries, and here's the kicker, they aren't always immediately apparent. Don't just rely on visible car damage to gauge the situation. The lack of deployed airbags might not tell the whole story, especially if you or the other driver have pre-existing health conditions that could worsen as a result of the accident. And even if you feel fine, remember that adrenaline can mask pain and injuries. It's like a trick your body plays on you, making you feel like Superman right after the accident, only for you to wake up the next day feeling like you were hit by a freight train. Now, let's say you're a well-built guy fresh out of the gym and you get into what seems like a minor fender bender on your way home. No big deal, right? You just spilled some protein shake. But what if the other driver is a pregnant woman? That same seemingly minor collision could have serious consequences for her and her baby. The bottom line, it's not just about the car, it's about the people involved. Never underestimate the potential impact of a minor accident and always make sure to cover all your bases, from medical checks to legal advice. Don't miss the next episode where we will cover more vital topics that could protect your rights and your future. If you have any questions or topics you would like us to cover, feel free to reach out. I am Greg Czubernat, and you can find my contact information at czubernatlaw.com. Until next time, drive safely, be informed, and take care. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If you want to listen to my podcast on other platforms, remember that our podcast is now available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.